Good morning, my fellow Africans and the world at large. This is Emmanuel Kojobensa once again coming into your homes and your minds with a message of empowerment and enlightenment all the way from Ontario, Canada. Today is the 12th of August in the year 2022, and the Bible says this is the day the Lord has made. We should rejoice and be glad in it. And for that matter, I take this opportunity to invite the whole world, any man or woman listening to me or hearing my voice, to join me to give thanks to God for the day that He has granted unto us. And life in general. Life is beautiful. Life is wonderful. Life is glorious. Life is God Himself flowing through all things, including mankind. Today, I am going to speak to you on the topic, what one has done, all can do. What one has done, all can do. And today, we're going to look at this topic based on the biblical statement or the biblical verse from the book of Philippians. And according to the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 18, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I repeat, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And over here, the Bible is speaking to every man, every one of us, that we can do anything. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. And for that matter, no one on this earth can say that he or she hasn't got certain ability or the ability to do certain things. That statement is a matter of anyone who makes such a statement makes it out of ignorance. We are supposed to be linked with a certain power, or we are working with a certain power that has no limit, and that is the power of God. It has no limit because God has no limit. And therefore, nothing is beyond the capability of a man who is the incarnate of God. And so when Apostle Paul or St. Paul stated that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, he was making a very important statement to humanity and acknowledging the truth and the fact that the human being is a God on earth here. Now, if you analyze this, the verse, you will see that the key word or the word that defines everything in the verse is all. I can do all. The all qualifies the verb, which is the do. So I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And so it is with every one of us. And this statement is actually something that speaks direct to those of us that calls ourselves Christians. We confess this statement all the time, that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And if you look at the verse, the word that is used is all. No exception. Everything is possible. Anything is possible in your life. Therefore, the power has already been given to us. Christ and the verse represent the God nature in you. That is the God nature in every human being. And it is that state or that part of us that moves and do everything in us. And that is why the same writer also says that, for it is God who worketh in you, both to will and to do, for His own glory. And so no man is here, or no man or woman is denied the ability to do anything. The only limitation, the only thing that makes us to see this is our understanding of life and the readiness to go ahead and do what we want to do. The power is already with us. That is the Christ within us, the indwelling Christ. And that is what we've been teaching all the time, that it is called, in scientific terms, it is called the subconscious mind. Every human being has it. No man is denied. But it is not all men and women who knows about it. And therefore, we abuse it, we use it wrongly, or we are not actually using it at the fullest level. And so the ability to know or to understand the powers that you have and accessing them to do things is the key. And that is the only factor that differentiates us from the achievers and the non-achievers. People who think and believe that nothing is beyond their ability because they know that there is a force, there is a power that they are accessing to do whatever they want to do. So when I say with my topic that what one has done, all can do, it is indeed true. Everyone has the ability to do anything that we want to do. But it is on the condition that you will be awakened to the truth that there is a Christ in you, there is a power in you, a force, that when you call upon that force, it will quicken you and take you to do anything. That is when men and women will say you are performing wonders. And even if we are to look at this from the mental perspective, those who use hypnostics as a tool to work on people, men and women in the hypnotic state are able to do anything that the one or the therapist is suggesting to them, or the hypnotist is suggesting to them. So when someone is at that state, the person is operating from the Christ within the state. That is the unconscious state. That is the God nature. That power has the ability to do anything. And so we have read and we have seen movies, we have seen videos about even women who have been suggested or who at the hypnotic stage were able to do some extraordinary things that under normal circumstances they wouldn't have been able to do. But when they come back into their consciousness, they are unable to do that. We've seen children, we've seen men and women doing all these things at that state. And that is what the Bible is referring, that power that makes men and women to perform wonders in their hypnotic state. They are able to predict into the future. They are able to tell past events vividly as it happened. That is the power St. Paul wrote about, that he can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That is the Christ nature in every human being. That is the Christ, the indwelling Christ in every human being. And so if someone in a hypnotic state is able to do anything that is suggested to him or her, then it implies that you and I, we will be able to do anything in our lives if we are able to go into that state and connect with the same power and suggest whatever we want to do to that power. That power will quicken you and I. It will move us, give us revolutionary ideas, give us ideas, things that no man or woman has ever seen from the unseen world, and pushes us or work through us to bring it to the eyes and minds of mankind. That is the truth of life. So in this world, no man or woman is denied this power. No man or woman is shortchanged with this power. You have it. I have it. Every man or woman has it. But it is only the ability to know and access this power, to connect to that level of you, which is the real you, and to operate from that level, that separates us from each other. The man that has created the car or the aeroplane has no more a greater power than you or and I. Any man that has done anything great has no any different power other than the same power that we are all using. But it is our inability to operate at the levels at which they are operating. And so this is the time that we have to become awakened to this fact. The Bible is a metaphysical book, and it talks about what God has put in us. And it is our responsibility to look for and then use it and make the world a better place and our life a better place. So whatever any man or woman has done anywhere in the world, you, the one listening to me, regardless of where you are, you have the ability and the power to do the same thing or something equal, something at the same level or even a higher level. You don't have to do the same thing as the person has done, but you may be able to do something that is another level of what the person has done or is equivalent in different areas. But unfortunately, we have been indoctrinated and we have been taught to believe that we are on earth here and we are more or less victims of circumstances. We have no ability to influence, to empower, to change the course of our life because we are only at the mercy of certain power that is far away from us. But that is not true. God is personal. God is right with you here as it is. He is in the space. God is everywhere. God is the power that is moving and animating everything. And for that matter, if you are able to connect to your God nature in you, then you have the power and ability to do anything that you have done. And so this is the time we have to look at this and begin to walk in the right way. We are not supposed to compete with one another, but we are supposed to use other people's achievement to spur us up and to identify our purpose. And with the identification of the purpose for which you are here, the power in you will supply you everything that you need. And you will go on to achieve. So you are here to triumph. You are here to dominate. By your domination, or the domination of any circumstance is hinged or is built upon the fact that you connect with your inner powers, the power that is within you, the Christ in you. And that is why the Bible says, Christ in me, or Christ in you, the hope of glory. Christ, as used in these biblical verses, represent your subconscious mind. The part of you that controls every aspect of your life. Your digestion, the growth of your hair, the healing of any sore on your body, your ability to sleep, to breathe, and wake up, walk, do anything, everything in your life is controlled and managed by this part of you. That is the Christ nature in you, and that is the subconscious mind. And so you have the ability to do all things through this Christ in you. Jesus Christ is taken as a representation of that part of the human body, the human life, existence, not body, the human existence. And for that matter, you are supposed to look for the Christ in you, but not for the Christ outside you. And even the Bible says that we are the temple of God, that God resides in us. And therefore, any man that abuses the temple of God will receive a punishment matching the abuse that he is making. And the punishment is what comes into your life. You are supposed to think good, think in the positive, and think of the greatest good of yourself and mankind. And as you walk in that direction, the powers in you come, the forces in the universe comes to energize you. And then you are able to rise up and do things, and people will begin to sing to your praises that you are performing wonders. So as I stated, if a human being is able to go into a hypnotic state, the unconscious state, and say things that the current generation have no idea, are able to predict into the future and tell things in a detailed accuracy, and also to predict things that comes true, and also to get up and take anything and break it apart, then it is a mathematical truth that Any of us, if we are able to go to that level, connect to that power in us, we will be able to do anything, any difficulty, any problem, any challenge that is in front of us. We will be able to break it apart and become the overcomers of that particular situation. So, what one has done, all can do, is indeed true. And so, as we are looking at this, always the spotlight, or we are doing this in relation to the African situation. And this topic is really talking to every African. The ignorance of our own powers is the number one thing that is killing us. That is has rendered or that condemns us into underdevelopment, poverty, and all that we're seeing. But it is time for us to wake up and to accept the truth. And as we are seeing from always, it is in the Bible, in the book of Philippians 4:13, that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And therefore, if we can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, then it is a matter of sin, not as we call sin, no, a matter of missing the mark for any of us to declare that, as for me, I don't have the ability to do this. For me, I don't think I can do this. No, you are denying your own divinity. You are denying your own essence. And this is the time that you have to become awakened to this. Life is about understanding. Life is about knowing and obeying the laws of the universe. And so you are created as a powerful human being, but we are equal. You are equal to any man on this earth. The greatest person that we consider as the greatest was born and died just like any other human being. They didn't breathe any special air. They didn't have any special way of walking. All of us existed, and all we are existing, and we are doing the same thing. And so it is with all the things that we are doing. But it is just a matter of us connecting to our inner power, so to connecting to our indwelling Christ, the Christ within us. And that is your subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind will quicken you and then work through you to the glory of God and to the enjoyment and the happiness of mankind. That is why you are here. And so you have the ability. Today, I'm telling you that my brother, my sister, my fellow Africans, you have the capability, you have the ability. It is already, you are endowed with it. But it is only that you are ignorant. You are not aware, or you have no idea, the knowledge about how to use your own powers. And that is what we're activating now. The one that has done anything that we call extraordinary, connected to this same source, the same power. And that is why he's been able to do it. So we are not, no one is greater than the other. Because if that is the case, then it means God has created an inferior version of his own self. We are the images and the likenesses of God. And if we are God incarnate, and God makes some people superior and makes some people inferior, that means God has reduced himself to that state. And that is actually even comes to question the impartiality of God. The impartiality of God. God is impartial. He gives to everyone in the same measure, equal measure. But we are seeing the difference, the partiality that appears to exist in our life is about our ability to access what God has given to us and use it. And it's just like in the Bible about the prodigal son, the parable of the prodigal son. The one that went away, when he came back, the father threw the banquet, a very big party to welcome him. But the one that stayed with the parents, he was even at the farm, or doing whatever he was supposed to do. So when he came and realized that it is the runaway brother who took everything that was due him, went and squandered it, and now he came back with nothing, and he is being praised. And so this brother confronted the father. But the father said it lovingly and kindly, son, All that is mine. It's yours. It's just that you haven't known. You didn't access it. The one that took it and went and squandered it, whether he has squandered it or not, he made a claim of what belongs to him. And so that is what our life is. God has already given us everything that we need. Some people are making a claim of it, but oh, sorry, unlike the prodigal son, they are making good use of it, and therefore they are doing wonders. And some people too have actually making the claim, but in a negative way. That is, you are thinking in the negative. But we are not talking of the God is positive. God is only upward, Godward, and all. And therefore, we are looking at it from the positive light, the God nature. So God nature, used in the right way, produces the right answer. And so the father said, all that is mine is yours, but it is your ability, it's your responsibility to access it. And so every one of us is endowed with these powers. Every human being, regardless of where you find yourself, you are endowed with these powers. But it is your responsibility to know and begin to use it for your betterment and enjoyment of yourself and those around you. And so what we are talking about is about knowing and using those who have done great things, those who have done the amazing things that we are all running after. They knew the truth and they applied the truth. And now we have discovered the truth. And the truth is that the human being is God incarnate. And therefore God is in the human being. And God is not limited in any way. God does all things. And therefore you have the power. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you and I. That is what the Bible is putting across. This is not about going to sit in the church and reciting these words and we see nothing. If we are to go by the life of all of us that we call ourselves Christians on the African continent, then it's better we cut out this verse from the Bible, because our life does not depict that. Nothing is coming out of our lives, but we are claiming that we can do all things. As a matter of fact, if you can do all things, and always you have to beg people, everything that comes into your life, someone has to come and help you from somewhere to come and help you. Then you cannot do all things. In that calculation, you are limited. But that is not how we're supposed to live. God has given us everything that we need. And as I was saying, we are all equal. We have access to the same power. Just as we have access to the same air, the same breath, the same air, the same sunlight, everything that is universal. But it is our responsibility to use it to better ourselves. And it is about knowing the powers that you have. So my brother, my sister, African, you are not created powerless. You were not born powerless. You were created and born as powerful men and women. But we have rendered ourselves powerless because of our ignorance of who we are. And therefore, today, the call is for you to wake up and begin to look for the source of power from within you. The source of power is from within you, but not from any other person. And let us begin to access all that is in the Father's house, because it belongs to all of us. As it is, Africans, we are like that son who is so pious, who is so humble that he's doing everything, but even things that belongs to him for him to take and make himself happy, he is not making a claim. The universe is calling on every one of us to make a claim, but the claim has to be made by knowing who we are and using the powers within us. So whatever any man has done in this world, an African too can do. Whatever any man is here to do in this world, an African too can do. And therefore the call is that Instead of busying our mind and thinking of help from other people, let us begin to look for the source of power from within us. Instead of, dwelling on the past traditions and things that we have used that never helped us. The Africans' concept of location of power is in out things. And therefore, our forefathers used to live, they go to the shrine, they go to they pour the libation, and then they come home and sleep. They do not see themselves, they didn't see themselves as the center of power. And so the African has always been a victim. And this is the time we have to correct this mentality. We have to correct this mentality. You are not a victim, but you are the creator of your own circumstances. And therefore, since you are the creator, you have the ability to reverse it. The creation that you are making right now is based on you abusing the powers that you have, suggesting negative and destructive things to your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind, as Paul says, I can do all things. You can do both the good and the bad. The subconscious mind does not discriminate. The Christ in you, the God nature in you does not discriminate. And therefore, whatever you suggest, whatever you give to that part of you, that is what it will take, and you create it back into your life. So watch your words and watch the thoughts that you allow to run through your mind and generate emotions in your life. Because those things will go on to create your reality. They'll go on to create your own life. And therefore, you need to be aware of this and rise up as a knowledgeable man or woman of Africa that knows who he is and that knows what he wants to achieve. Even if you don't have the ideas, as I said, men and women at the hypnotic state or in the hypnotic state are able to predict things and even give vivid instructions as to how those things could be constructed. In the same way, with the power connected in us, with the same power in us, we will receive ideas. We will receive even detailed description of whatever thing that God is bringing to the world through us. And then we will take it and create it and give it to the world, that this is what we have done by the power of God running through all of us. That is how we can achieve any recognition. And this is the only road upon which any man or woman can travel to world domination. If you want to dominate the world, then you have to begin to use the powers that are in you. God has not shortchanged you in any way. And therefore, Christ in you, the hope of glory. And I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Those two statements speak directly to the power of the subconscious mind of every human being. And in him I move, I live, and have my being. That is the subconscious mind. It is the subconscious mind that makes us move, that makes us sleep, that makes us do anything. And that is the Christ in you who is every day animating you, doing things according to the thoughts and emotions that you supply to him. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. These are powerful statements. And therefore, if you are a Christian today listening to me, begin to analyze your life against these statements. Let me give you the 3 verses. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It is God who works in me both to will and to do for his own glory. In him I live, I move, and have my being. Analyze this. And if whatever thing that is happening in your life actually depicts and speaks to this statement, then I would say go ahead and do whatever you're doing. But if it is not, then this is the time for repentance. But I know from experience, from our utter experiences, from whatever we have seen in our lives, there is nothing that denies what I'm telling you. You have followed these things for far too long. But this is the time that you have to turn your consciousness, you have to turn your attention to yourself. You are a loaded man or woman with all the potentials and possibilities. They are embedded in you, and all is done by the power of your subconscious mind. Therefore, use the God nature and use the God power in you to dominate the environment, to do everything and to create and to mold a life that is befitting the human being as God planned. That is the truth of life. So any man or woman working here can create a car. You can invent a car. You can become Abraham Lincoln if you have the power, if you have the ability and the understanding and knowledge to go to that level of yours and ask and believe, it will be yours. That is the truth of fact. God doesn't deny any human being. Nothing is being denied. No one is being denied in the same way. But we denied ourselves. So this is the time that Africans, we have to rise up. Hey, let us look into our communities, our societies. We have numerous challenges. We can get solution to these challenges and problems only when we begin to work from within ourselves. The black man has depended on outer power for far too long, and that has demoralized us. That has made us paralyzed. And this is a time that the truth and the knowledge and understanding has been appeared on the continent of Africa. And we are calling on every one of us. You have it. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to beg for it. You don't have to do anything for it. You only have to believe in yourself. Believe in that nature of God in us. And so even if we go back to the Bible, in the book of Genesis, we are told that when God created Adam, He put His breath in Adam. And that breath quickens Adam. Some of the versions actually used the word quickened the body of Adam, and he became a living being. That is your subconscious mind. That is your soul. The day that part departs from you and back to the parent spirit or the parent energy, whatever you want to call it, then we say you have moved on. You've passed on to the, or you've returned to the other world. And so in the unseen world, there is everything. In my Father's house, there are many mansions. There are no scarcity. There are nothing like scarcity in the kingdom of God. And that is the universe that we find ourselves. Everything is there for us to take, unless if we are ready to pay the price. But the paying of the price is by purifying your subconscious mind and kicking out all, eradicating all negative thoughts, emotions and feelings, and allow only what is pure, what is great, what is wonderful, only to run through your mind, such that it will go to your subconscious mind, and the one that strengthens you and make you to do all things will take it and do it for you. That is the truth of life. We don't have to go into a hypnotic state to do this, but the hypnotic state is just an evidence to us that what you can do when you are at that state, you can equally do it when you are awake and you are able to behave. You are able to live and behave in accordance with this power that lives in you. So even what I'm talking of will be a foreign thing to many people, not majority of Africans. About 99.9% of Africans have no idea about what I'm talking about. And that is why our continent is lying down. But there is nothing wrong with that. We now have the real opportunity. And it is time that we rise up to look for power from within us and take all these problems and turn into opportunities, wonderful things that human beings from all parts of the world will come and look for and taste it. There is no way that any man or woman can achieve anything without believing in himself. If you don't believe in yourself, you cannot achieve anything. And that is the point that we have to be awakened to. We believe in powers that are in something, Mami Walter and whatever. So the powers are not in us. And therefore, all these things have the power to do whatever they want to do to us. And we are victims now. It is just because of the thoughts that you are casting around these things that it makes them real. You can disempower them by changing your thoughts into positive and constructive thoughts. That is the truth of life. So what one can do, all can do, is indeed true. No African is denied. Africa is poor. Africa is underdeveloped. We are not getting good leaders. We are not getting this and that because we are lacking the understanding of life, how life is supposed to be conducted, and even our true nature, the nature of man, the nature of man, men and women inclusive. When I use the word man here, it is inclusive. The nature of the human being, that he's a spiritual being that has no limit, that has power over everything. He has dominion over everything. And therefore, the challenges, the difficulties that are in his environment are the opportunities, that are invitation for him to rise up, to exercise his own powers to overcome them and to evolve to another level of existence. That is the truth of life. So whatever any man or woman in this world has done, my brother African, my sister African, you too can do it and do it better. So let us rise up and begin to seek the understanding, knowledge, and understanding of the powers that we have. A lot of things have been written about the power of the subconscious mind. If you go onto YouTube, there are a lot of literature in the system. Instead of you using your time to watch comedy, to watch all these kind of stupid things on internet, use your time to educate yourself. It is time that we have to rise up, that the African will no longer think of only simple things, but will think of great and powerful things. As a matter of fact, when you look at Africa as it is now, the two major areas that we are doing are buying and selling, and maybe people who are working white-collar jobs. That is it. Everyone is just want to buy and sell. Any man that comes to you, any woman that comes to you that I want to set up a business, these are the two things, or maybe farming. These are the two things. No African will get up and say that I am going to create a certain business. That is extraordinary. I was watching a program, and I was really touched by a British guy who is using plastic to make tie roads. And I actually mentioned these things by making reference to the cow dungs that was used in my village and in the north of Ghana. And only to watch that this guy, he said he went to India. And as he was walking through the India, some of the places are quite poor. He realized how people have stepped on this plastic and it has mixed with this soil. And now it became like concrete. So it came to him that, yes, if I'm able to take this plastic and turn it into something, we can use it to tar our roads. So he came back to England and he started this job in his garage. So he started cutting this plastic into sizes like pebbles and that. Then he used it to tie his garage. And after that, it became a business. And this guy is now showcasing that he's promoting whatever he's doing. That is what we call someone who think and believe that there is something in him, and therefore whatever he wants to do, once he's gotten the punch, he's gotten the feeling, he goes on to do it. And this is the person who can say that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Which of us can do that? And this person is not greater than you and I. And that is why the awareness is being created that whatever any man has, we have. Because we are breathing the same air. We are doing the same basic things in the same way. And it is about time that we begin to look for our powers within us and begin to dominate. So if we have even 100 of Africans, like with the mentality of this guy I'm talking about 100 of the African problems in medicine, in manufacturing, in any area would have been developed. And this is the time for us to rise up. And my note or my advice to you, my brother, my sister, is that you are not born poor. You are not born powerless. You are not short-changed in any way. You are a powerful human being with a Christ nature in you, the Christ in you. And therefore, begin to seek the knowledge and understanding of the Christ within you. That is your subconscious mind. If you don't want to call it the subconscious mind, it's just a scientific name. You can call it the soul. or the Christ in me, or the Christ in you, my guardian angel. There are so many names. People give it in different. Actually, some people even call it brownies. While it's what actually refers to is the formless substance. That is the energy that surrounds us, which we are part of, and begin to use this, connect with these powers, and begin to use it. There are so many ways to connect your subconscious mind, and today is not the time for it. At the right time, I will share some of them with you. And those of us listening to me, you can look for the book by Dr. Joseph Murphy entitled The Power of the Subconscious Mind. And it will give you detailed explanation. This is the time the African has to rise up. Instead of reading this kind of comic books and other things only to make you lazy and to make you poor, look for the power of the subconscious mind to read and understand it, apply every technique, and all of us together, we will raise ourselves from this underdevelopment, from this state that it looks that we are behind humanity, to a level that all of us will be part of the creators of the world. That is the truth of life. That is my message for you. And so, to round up or to sign off, I want to remind you of the topic that what one has done, all can do. Whatever I'm telling you, you have the ability to also say it and do it in a very different way. Even if it's not exactly as I am putting forward my message, you can do it in your own way and do it better than me. In the same way, the one that has created a laptop, you can also do it if you desire. If you desire and have that determination, you will do it, because your subconscious mind will supply you every idea, everything that you need for it to become a reality. But it is about we knowing who we are and accessing the powers that we have and cooperating with this power to move ourselves to a higher level, such that we will all look back and say, yes, this is what we have done with the power of God in us, or with God working through us. Now, may the overshadowing presence of God that keeps the stars in the open from falling on us, that keeps the planets in their orbit such that they do not fall on us, keep you, lead you, and guide you, such that your eyes and your mind will be open to your own indwelling powers. That is the Christ nature within you, the Christ in you, such that you will rise up and begin to do exploit, begin to walk in the direction that all of us put together. We will take every problem, every situation in Africa and conquer it. And by the time all is done, Africa is a well-developed continent that every man or woman is desire to come and taste the works of the African. That is my message for you. Once again, my name is Emmanuel Kweju Mensah. I am a co-founder of the Eagle Mentality Group, and at Eagle Mentality Group, we teach and propagate information about the power of the subconscious mind and the universal laws and principles that governs us, that all men and women knew and used it to create and develop their lands and their continents. Our determination is to create a new crop of Africans, to raise a new crop of Africans who will think and do things in a different way, who have the belief and understanding that the power to do, the power to be is within them, and therefore they stand on it and do whatever they want to do. They have the ability to declare that I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me in truth, but not just in saying, such that we will create a developed and advanced continent called Africa that becomes a citadel of knowledge, that becomes the hub of ideas, that becomes the center of everything that the human needs, such that it becomes an attraction, bringing all men and women from all parts of the world onto the African soil to create a diverse but a unified Africa, oneness on the divine law of oneness, to the glory of God. As it is, Africa is occupied by only or inhabited by only black people. And this is the time that we have to rise up to work to create a multiracial and a diverse but unified, prosperous and peaceful Africa. Thank you, and God bless you.